Here are the top stories for today, May 22nd, 2020. Malecon Yang says the entire country might be placed under GCQ by August. Returning workers must not be compelled to undergo rapid testing for coronavirus disease. Cases against NCRPO Chief Major General Sinas will proceed despite the decision of President Duterte to keep him in his post. And a female cadet from Isabella tops PMA Class of 2020. Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Malecon Yang on Thursday floated the possibility that the entire country might be placed under general community quarantine by August. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said it is likely possible to impose GCQ nationwide by August so long as all Filipinos heed the national government's quarantine protocols. Roque broached the idea as he assured the public that the Philippines remains in the first wave of the COVID-19 pandemic. This contradicts Health Secretary Francisco Duque's recent pronouncement that the country is now facing the second wave of the outbreak. Roque said they are hoping that the entire Philippines would already be under GCQ by the opening of classes on August 24. Meanwhile, the Alliance of Concerned Teachers said there has been apprehension among parents, teachers, and learners due to the threat of acquiring or passing on to others the virus. Roque guaranteed that the government would not jeopardize the life of students amid the COVID-19 crisis.
Hindi po natin ilalagay sa aberya ang ating mga kabataan kung kinakailangan pong wag buksan dahil mataas pa ang mga kaso o nagkaroon ng second wave, siguro po magkakaroon ng ganyang decision. Kung hindi po, we will take the appropriate action.
The latest SWS survey reveals that almost all Filipino families receive food assistance mostly from the government. In its May 4 to 10 survey, polling firm Social Weather Station shows that 99% of the households received food help since the beginning of the COVID-19 crisis. 99% say the government was the most common source of food help, followed by relatives at 22%, private groups or institutions like churches and non-government organizations at 16%, friends at 10%, and private individuals at 8%. Around 4.2 million families went hungry in the past 3 months, with 16.7% or about 4.2 million households experienced involuntary hunger from January to March due to lack of food to eat. The latest hunger incidence was nearly double the 8.8% or 2.1 million families registered in December 2019 and the highest since the 22% or 4.8 million recorded in September 2014. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said the palace was saddened that there was a huge spike in the number of Filipino families who went hungry in the past 3 months. Roque ensured that the government would exhaust all efforts to help Filipino households who are experiencing hunger amid the COVID-19 crisis. The Philippine Charity Sweepstakes Office has released over 3 billion pesos financial assistance in its fight against the coronavirus disease 2019. PCSO General Manager Royina Garma said the agency took the initiative to release in advance its dividend payment of 2.2 billion pesos to the Department of Finance to be used by the government in its COVID-19 response. 420 million pesos was turned over to the PhilHealth in March for anti-COVID-19 measures, while another 447 million pesos was released to 82 government hospitals across the country. PCSO also released 4.2 million pesos to the Lung Center of the Philippines, Philippine Heart Center, Philippine General Hospital, Rizal Medical Center, and Taguig Pateros District Hospital as additional daily fund allocation, and more than 63 million pesos worth of medical assistance for indigent Filipinos was also approved across the country. Aside from the financial aid, the agency also extended in-kind assistance such as food packs, alcohol, disinfecting solutions, and masks to some police units in Manila and in Davao. The agency also lent one of its shuttle service vehicles for frontliners working in the Ortigas area, while one ambulance unit was also lent to the quarantine station at the World Trade Center in Pasay City. The agency can be reached through its hotline numbers from Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. President Duterte fires an executive from the Office of Civil Defense, and cases against Sinas will proceed. More on these and other news around the metro from Marita Moahe.
President Rodrigo Duterte has fired OCD Deputy Administrator Assistant Secretary Toby Purisima due to a lack of trust and confidence. OCD, through Administrative Order Number 27, was tasked as the main coordinating body for donated medical supplies and equipment. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque did not mention as to whether Purisima's removal from office has something to do with the latter's performance. Purisima served as the spokesperson of the Joint Task Force Bangon Marawi before being appointed as an OCD official. Meanwhile, Malecon Yang on Thursday said cases against NCRPO Chief Major General Debold Sinas will proceed despite the decision of President Duterte to keep him in his post. Roque said that while Duterte has decided not to fire Sinas, it does not erase the fact that he is still facing criminal charges while an administrative case is also in the works. Sinas and 18 other police officers are facing a criminal complaint for alleged violation of City Ordinance Number 12, which imposes mandatory wearing of face masks and physical distancing, and Republic Act 11332, or the Mandatory Reporting of Notifiable Diseases and Health Events of Public Health Concern Act. In other news, Speaker Alan Peter Cayetano on Thursday said Malecon Yang had no involvement in the recent move to drop the bill granting a 5-month provisional franchise to ABS-CBN. Cayetano said President Duterte will not interfere with the affairs of other branches of government, particularly the legislature's prerogative on the franchise application of the media giant. In response to criticisms that the current House leadership dragged its feet on the franchise issue, Cayetano argued that the bill had been languishing in previous Congresses. On Tuesday, Cayetano said the lower chamber decided to forgo the proposed provisional franchise of ABS-CBN and would instead immediately proceed with the hearings for the network's full 25-year franchise application. The House Committee on Legislative Franchises is set to hear the proposals on Tuesday, May 26. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Marita Moahe.
Still to come, returning workers must not be compelled to undergo rapid testing for coronavirus disease. And restrictions on religious gatherings would be tackled in the next meeting of the IATF-EID. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Kakagaling ko lang ng grocery. Siyempre, hindi ko hahayaan na pumasok ang COVID-19 sa bahay at mapahamak ang pamilya ko. Kaya iiwan ko ang sapatos ko sa labas. At ngayon, maghuhugas ako ng kamay ng 20 seconds. O ayan, wala na ang virus. Tandaan, buhay ng pamilya natin na nakasalalay. Let's heal as one.
Alam niyo ba na pumapasok ang COVID-19 sa ating katawan sa pamamagitan ng mata, ilong at bibig? Kaya lagi kaming conscious dito sa bahay kapag umuubo kami. Lagi kaming naghuhugas ng kamay in 20 seconds. Pag lumalabas kami, lagi namin suot ang mask. Lagi lang natin tatandaan mga mamshi. Buhay ng pamilya natin ang nakasalalay dito. Let's heal as one.
Alamin ang tamang paraan ng pag-ubo upang mapigilan ang paglaganap ng Coronavirus Disease 2019. Ugaliing magdala ng panyo o tissue. Kung uubo o babahing, takpan ang buong ilong at bibig gamit ang panyo o tissue. Kung walang dalang panyo o tissue, maaaring gamitin ang braso na pantakip. Kung nakararamdam na kailangan umubo o bumahing, agad na dumistansya sa mga tao sa paligid. Huwag dumura kung saan-saan, gumamit ng tissue at itapon sa basurahan. Ugaliin ang paghuhugas ng kamay at paggamit ng alcohol o hand sanitizer upang mamatay ang mikrobyo. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
Malecon Yang on Thursday said returning workers must not be compelled to undergo rapid testing for COVID-19. Roque said COVID-19 testing should not be a precondition for employees who are now allowed to resume work. He said the DILG has been coordinating with LGUs to remind them that workers must not be forced to undergo rapid testing for COVID-19.
Hindi po tama na yung mga LGUs ay nagre-require ng rapid testing kasi hindi naman po talaga requirement yan. That must be done voluntarily. So nakipag-ugnayan na po ang DILG doon sa mga LGUs na nag-i-impose ng rapid test at sinasabi na po nila, hindi kayo dapat mag-require ng ganyan. Kung yung mga employers, sila na magbibigay at magbabayad ng rapid test o di kaya PCR test, hindi po natin sila pinipigilan. Ang hindi po pwede mag-require ng test para ikaw ay makabalik sa trabaho.
The restrictions on religious gatherings amid the COVID-19 pandemic would be tackled in the next meeting of the Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque vowed to raise the Catholic Church's concerns over the limited participation of individuals in religious gatherings. The IATF-EID earlier allowed the conduct of religious activities in areas placed under MECQ and GCQ. Under MECQ, participants are limited to not more than 5 persons, while the maximum number of participants under GCQ is 10. On Sunday, Manila Archdiocese Apostolic Administrator Bishop Broderick Pabilio called as laughable and unreasonable the new directive limiting the participants of religious gatherings. Pabilio also claimed that the restrictions were made without consultations from church leaders. Malecon Yang on Monday urged the Catholic Church to coordinate with IATF-EID and pitch proposals on how physical distancing and other health protocols may be implemented during religious gatherings. In our business news, 7 foreign companies with businesses in China have diversified their operations in the Philippines. According to Trade Undersecretary Seferino Rodolfo, these companies registered their projects with investment promotion agencies attached with the Department of Trade and Industry or DTI, the Board of Investments, and the Philippine Economic Zone Authority or PEZA from 2018 to February 2020. Rodolfo, who is also the managing head of BOI, said their investments reach 1.6 billion pesos. Some of these are Dutch company Head Group, 5 companies are from Taiwan, and American firm Win International Corporation. Rodolfo said the Philippines positions itself as a complementary host country for investments of companies that have operations in China, particularly in the manufacturing industry. He says these firms are relocating and diversifying outside China even before the pandemic due to the trade tension between China and the United States. Over 100 students in Ilocos Norte receive stipends from the government as they cope with the effects of the COVID-19 crisis. More on this and other news from the provinces from Roundup.
Some 103 students enrolled in the Mariano Marcos State University in Ilocos Norte have received their stipends from the tertiary education subsidy as the whole province copes with the effects of the COVID-19 crisis. The DBM released some 3.6 billion pesos to partially cover stipends for academic year 2019-2020. The TES is a government grants in aid program made possible through Republic Act 10931 or the Universal Access to Quality Tertiary Education Act. Cash assistance amounting to 60,000 pesos per school year is given to financially needy students as well as to those studying in municipalities and cities without public universities. Meanwhile, at least 172 public utility buses are now allowed to travel in some provinces of Central Visayas that are under the general community quarantine. LTFRB Regional Director Eduardo Montealto Jr. said that 52 bus units were issued with a special permit to travel in Cebu province. Also, 60 bus units in Bohol and 60 units in Negros Oriental were allowed to travel due to the lower risk classification of the two provinces. Montealto said his office allowed only around 50% of the total bus inventory in the province to travel, considering the continued limitation of movement of people even during GCQ. In General Santos, the city government has quarantined 8 people, including 2 overseas Filipino workers who returned home after being stranded for nearly 2 months in Metro Manila. Mayor Ronel Rivera said Thursday the stranded residents arrived on Tuesday night after traveling for 3 days. Rivera said the returning residents were profiled to properly establish their origin and travel history as part of the protocol for people coming in from areas with local transmission of COVID-19. Rivera assured that the city government has been continuously coordinating with the national government for the return of the other stranded residents. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Rom Dulfo.
Up next, a female cadet from Isabella tops PMA Class of 2020. And Muslim religious leaders will conduct moon viewing Friday night. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
Mga mommies, pagdating sa COVID-19, dapat hindi tayo kampante. Bagamat hindi nakikita ang sakit na ito ay nakamamatay. At hanggang ngayon wala pa rin lunas. Kaya protektahan natin ang ating pamilya. Laging maghugas ng kamay, huwag hahawakan ng mukha, at manatili sa bahay para makaiwas sa sakit na ito. Tandaan, buhay ng pamilya natin ang nakasalalay dito. Let's hear this one.
Hi Caps! Kamusta?
Well, ito dahil sa COVID-19, medyo stress.
Okay lang yan Caps. Napagdaanan ko din yan.
Ano kaya pwede natin gawin, no?
Kung nararamdaman mo na gulong-gulo ka na sa mga naririnig mo, sa mga nababasa mo, mag-pause ka muna, saka ka huminga ng malalim.
Buti na lang tumawag ka. Iba talaga pag may nangangamusta.
A strong body starts with a strong mind.
Tama. Let's heal us one.
Tandaan ang tamang paraan ng paghuhugas at paglilinis ng kamay upang makaiwas sa iba't ibang karamdaman. Basain ng tubig ang mga kamay at sabunin. Unang sabunin ang mga palad at ang likod ng mga kamay. Kuskusin na maigi ang pagitan ng mga daliri at maging ang mga kuko. Isunod ang pagitan ng mga hinlalaki at kuskusin ng paikot ang mga dulo ng mga daliri sa magkabilang palad. Banlawang mabuti ang mga kamay sa malinis na tubig at patuyuin ang mga kamay gamit ang single-use towel o air dryer. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
A female cadet from Isabella topped the graduating class of the Philippine Military Academy this year. Cadet First Class Gemelin Diocares Sugi topped PMA Class Masidlawin 2020. She will receive the Presidential Sabre Award for graduating valedictorian of Class 2020. At second is C1CL Jade Campo Villanueva of Tacloban City, followed by Jefferson Yamson Salazar of Zamboanga City. This year's graduation will not have the usual fanfare and families around due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The PMA said the graduation ceremony would be streamed live via PMA's official Facebook page. Meanwhile, 2 Zamboangueñas landed on the top 10 of the Philippine National Police Academy Mandayog Class of 2020. Cadet First Class Lei Ann Palermo is at the top of her class, while Cadet First Class Zandra Tabar on top 3. The parents of the 2 Zamboangueñas said they are proud of their daughter's achievements, although they cannot attend the graduation rites amid the COVID-19 pandemic. The graduation of the PNPA Mandayog class of 2020 was held Friday at Camp Mariano Castañeda that houses the PNPA campus in Silang, Cavite. In sports, after being postponed for a year due to coronavirus, the 2020 Tokyo Olympics will have to be canceled if it is not held next summer. International Olympic Committee head Thomas Bach said they could no longer have athletes, sports organizations, and organizers in uncertainty by continuously delaying the Olympics. Bach said Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe has made it clear to him that there is no plan B if the Games are further delayed. According to the new schedule, the Olympics will begin on July 23, 2021 and will run through August 8. The Tokyo Olympics will be followed by China hosting the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics. The IOC president also refused having the Olympics held behind closed doors, as he insists the Olympic spirit is also about uniting the fans. The Olympics were last canceled in 1944 due to World War II, but the Games had never been delayed in their 124-year modern history. Muslim leaders will conduct moon viewing Friday night in parts of the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao to determine whether the fasting month of Ramadan will end Saturday. Muslim Grand Mufti Abu Huraira, Udasan leader of the Darul Ifta, said the crescent moon appears Friday night. Fasting ends on Saturday. Otherwise, Ramadan will officially end Sunday with a celebration of Eid al-Fitr. The celebration of Eid al-Fitr ends the month-long Ramadan of Muslim faithful worldwide. The different and subdued observance of the fasting month started on April 23 with no congregational prayers and mass gatherings of Muslims due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Udasan reminds the faithful to avoid congregational prayers and instead pray in their homes to celebrate the end of the fasting month. In continued efforts to rehabilitate Marawi City, Task Force Bangon Marawi expects the fast-tracking of its projects with the release of a budget of 3.56 billion pesos. Christine Lynn Viajante has the story.
The Office of the President has approved this year the release of 3.56 billion budget with special allotment release order by DBM to the different implementing agencies to fast-track the completion of the projects under the Marawi Recovery, Rehabilitation, and Reconstruction Program. Task Force Bangon Marawi Chair Secretary Eduardo Del Rosario sees the government's move as a huge boost to efforts in hastening Marawi City's rehabilitation.
Isa pong magandang balita na ang pondo para magawa ang mga proyekto sa most affected area ay naaprubahan na ng ating mahal na Pangulo ngayong buwan ng Abril at Mayo. Kaya umasa kayo na sa pagpasok ng buwan ng Hulyo, full blast na ang paggawa ng mga proyekto sa MAA.
Out of the total approved budget, the National Housing Authority will receive the lion's share amounting to 1.91 billion for its various temporary and permanent housing programs in the city. The Social Housing Finance Corporation will also receive 155.7 million. Meanwhile, the city government of Marawi will receive 558.2 million to spearhead the construction of several public facilities. Recognizing the key role of the agriculture sector, especially in the prevailing COVID-19 pandemic, BARMS Mafar was allotted 91.3 million. The Local Water Utilities Administration is also slated to receive 766.5 million. DPWH had been earmarked 80.2 million intended for road repair and reconstruction work. The Department of Education had been allocated 3.3 million for the distribution of learning kits. Also included in the budget allocation is 20.9 million for the construction of a linear fence in Mindanao State University and 48.5 million for DILG through the Philippine National Police.
Bukod dito, ginawa na rin natin ng hakbang para makakuha tayo ng pondong donasyon para maisaayos ang Grand Mosque at Batu Mosque. Pipilitin natin na kahit na naabala tayo ng COVID-19, ang ating target completion na December 2021 ay ating pagsisikapan.
For PNA Newsroom, Christine Lynn Viajante of PIA Iligan City Information Center.
Here's another look at today's biggest stories. Malecon Yang says the entire country might be placed under GCQ by August. Returning workers must not be compelled to undergo rapid testing for coronavirus disease. Cases against NCRPO Chief Major General Sinas will proceed despite the decision of President Duterte to keep him in his post. And a female cadet from Isabella tops PMA Class of 2020. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. To check out more news content, check our webpage or head onto the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also, watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC 13. And as we close in on the weekend, it has been a week since the National Capital Region and Metro Manila included has been under MECQ. We urge people to heed the necessary safety precautions and protocols so that we can avoid the second wave, so that we can continue to improve and our lives will go back to some sort of normalcy. And we can only do this if we unite together and work together as a team. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo. Good day.